When I was a senior in college at Christian Brothers University in Memphis, I was a Christian. I was probably didn't know it at the time, but I was seeking. And at that time, I had a professor in my major who I developed a really deep connection with because she was one of my advisors for my thesis. And it was during that time and during conversations that we had where we could share our faith that she invited me to a Taizé prayer service at Church of the Holy Communion in Memphis. It was just something to do on Sunday night. It was something different. But at that time, there's no way I would have known that that was the beginning point of my life as an Episcopalian. About 15 years later, we were back in Memphis, resettling. Our jobs were in transition. We had just started our family. We had a toddler, and we were looking for a home church, but also it wasn't just looking for a church. I think we were looking for a spiritual home because we hadn't been attending church for probably the previous decade. And in looking for a place for our daughter to be, we learned about St. John's Episcopal Church here in Memphis and their Parents' Day Out program. And it was through that outreach ministry that St. John's provides, we were folded back into the Episcopal world. Really found that it was a place where we could be who we were. Fast forward about 3 or 4 years later, and I find myself in the pews at Holy Communion, just having thought a lot about confirmation and making a public declaration of my faith, and having prayed over becoming confirmed for a long time, probably from that moment that I first entered Holy Communion, and I knew that it was time. I remember right before my confirmation, it may have been right before or right after, but meeting with the rector and wanting to talk about like what's next, what's the next step for me. And eventually, and I didn't know, I thought that I was going to have to go through some sort of like period of being a novice or being a newly confirmed person, but I learned that I could get involved right away, and my church and the leadership really coached me into ministries that were meaningful to me. In my role now, working at the diocesan office and with lots and lots of faith communities here in West Tennessee that are Episcopal, but also having touches and with churches and faith communities outside of our Episcopal community, I'm really learning to see the value of every single person who buys in to anything that we have to offer, whether that is a random college student who goes to a Taizé, whether that's a family that is getting help with their children through Parents' Day Out programs, whether that's intramural sports, which a lot of our churches provide, everybody, or whether that's someone who has been a part of one of our churches for their entire lifetime and has incredible lessons that they can impart. There's a place for everyone at the table, and I encourage everyone to be forthcoming about how welcoming we are and how much we really do want to share the light of Christ in our communities.